What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to make a quick video regarding the 96 to 2000 Civic. I made a video like this a couple years ago regarding a stuttering issue I was having with, it was a 96 or 97 sedan, I can't remember the exact year. And a lot of things had been replaced on the car by the previous owner, but he could not figure out why it would stutter. And when I got the car, I ended up finding it, and I ended up finding out that it's a very, very common problem on these cars. The exhaust manifold on the D16Y7, which usually comes in the DX, the LX, and I think the CX hatchback, they have the catalytic converter right off of the exhaust manifold. They always tend to crack. I have now owned 2 cars where they've cracked. Out of the 3 EKs I've ever owned, 2 of them were cracked. I didn't get a chance to look at the hatchback. I have a friend that recently picked up a 97 sedan. His is also cracked, and he was asking me about his issue, and I told him that I found a complete replacement for it. Pretty inexpensively priced. This is from Maxpeedingrods. It has a brand new manifold itself. It has the catalytic converter here also, and it does come with a supplied gasket kit. Now, this unit is actually 2 pieces, where the OEM one, it does not unbolt. It is one solid unit, so you still have to remove it entirely. I think it would have been kind of cool had it been, if this had been designed similar to this, we could have just potentially removed the manifold itself, and the catalytic converter, if yours is still in good shape, could potentially be used, because I don't know if this is probably not California legal or compliant. There's a lot of people that have issues with that. But for here, it probably shouldn't have any reason to pass. So I'm going to get this thrown on the car, give you a little quick rundown of how easily it is to install this one, and start it up, make sure there's no leaks. What I did first was remove the O2 sensor. I actually slid the plug off of the little mount itself, and then just disconnected it. There's a little tab here you'll pull. Then I removed the 2 12mm bolts on top. The reason you're going to need to do that, obviously, we need to get to all of the 9 nuts that hold it to the exhaust manifold. Then we're going to get under here. Next step, I'm going to disconnect. Down here you have, there's 3 14mm nuts surrounding the pipe here to the catalytic converter, and then we have another one right here. This one also is a 14mm bolt. This one is a bracket that mounts up to the block, which kind of holds the catalytic converter in place. After having those removed, I took off right here. There's 2 12mm nuts. I removed those. That way I can just separate the exhaust from the catalytic converter. Now there's a second O2 sensor on the bottom, and that plug is right here. We're going to go ahead and get that one disconnected. This is probably easier to slide off of the clip as well and then pull it off. And then you can remove the 12mm nuts, and we should be able to slide it forward a little bit and just down. We might, looks like we'll need to remove this 14mm here because the bracket that's attaching it, it won't allow us to slide it down. So I'll remove that 14mm bolt right there as well. You know, I just wanted to talk about this little bracket holding the catalytic converter to the block. Some people have said that they think this is the reason it causes it to crack, because it's holding it stationary, it doesn't allow it to move a little bit. I don't know if that's true. I had someone comment that I believe on the old video they said they had 1 or 2 of these crack on them. They replaced it and they removed this bracket, and that they didn't have the issue any longer. I don't know if that's true or not. I thought it'd be kind of interesting if that was the reason why it cracked. Also, when getting these plugs removed, let me show you how to do them. There's a little clip right here. If you slide this up, that removes it from the metal bracket, and then you can then slide it out, and then of course you can just unplug it by, the other side has a little clip here. You just pull down, it lifts it up over that little knob right there. Next up, just gonna get everything put together. Got the old manifold off, the new one. Requires a little bit of assembly. First off, just put in your studs. They screw in pretty easily. Put the short end on top, long end on bottom. That way it gives you room for the exhaust manifold and then also the nuts that it is supplied with. We have these 4 bolts here with washers. These are gonna be fed through the top here. The catalytic converter itself is threaded, so it'll just go right in and hold it. There's some additional nuts here that actually fit on here. I don't know what they're for. I don't think these will reach all the way through and add them there. Plus there's not really any room for it to bolt up. So I don't know what those are actually for. Just gonna set those aside. It does have the new supplied gasket here. It also has another supplied gasket right here, which goes in this area right here. There's an old ring in here. I'm gonna remove that. Just get a little pick, see if I can get it out. This one will fit in there to help seal the bottom of the catalytic converter. So let me get that put together pretty quickly. Once I have it together, I will go and remove the O2 sensors. I'm gonna put them into the new one when it's on the car. It's a little easier to tighten them when this is already bolted down. With the manifold put together, I went ahead and removed the old ring. It's not pressed in. It's a little bit difficult getting it out. I just used my hammer. I hit here on the side a little bit. Didn't seem to work, so I got my screwdriver and I was able to lift this little corner. And when I was able to finally just grab my screwdriver in there and lift it up and it popped out. So now we can put the new one in there. This is, looks like it will compress as it's, yeah, see it sticks up. Let me look here. It sticks up over the lip of it, so that when you tighten it down, it seals it off and it should fill this whole area. Honestly, I'm gonna hang on to this one as well, just in case. Like if that one's causing any issues, it's good to have that as an alternative. Next up, install your exhaust manifold gasket. I've always installed them with, if you ever feel one, there's a flat side and then there's the side which is punched up. It kind of reminds me of a dimple die, how this side goes up. I always put the raised side on the exhaust manifold side. That way it's actually touching it and the flat side is up against the head. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just the way I've always done it. Then go ahead and re-bolt up your exhaust. Mine fit perfect. When I first started tightening it up, it did squeeze that gasket down, so I bet it's a pretty solid seal. We're gonna put the little bracket on, and I already finished the 212 millimeters for the exhaust back there also. Next, I'm gonna just pull off both O2 sensors and transfer them over. When you're putting this one on, don't forget to put your heat shield over it because you'll need to feed this wire through the opening on the heat shield. And then also when removing these, if you have an O2 socket, that works really well. If not, I believe 22 could work, but you just risk damaging, potentially stripping it. This one it'll be easy to get to because I can probably access it. I'm still just gonna use my socket on it. And there it is, completely finished up. Pretty easy getting the shield on, just sliding it over the O2 sensor, then tightening up the shield itself. Everything went as smoothly as it should. It took me about an hour from beginning to end. That included, of course, me recording this and showing you the steps along the way. Very easy to install. Anyone with some basic hand tools. You only need like the 12s and the 14s essentially, and then the O2 sensor socket or 22. Mine had a weird, I think I tossed it already. It had a 13 millimeter nut on one of the exhaust manifold studs. Threw that in the trash, grabbed another 12 millimeter so they're all matching. Everything else was the original OEM hardware, and it was pretty easy to get off. Now, some of you guys that live in states where it rusts, those lower exhaust manifold bolts that are sometimes like they look corroded and rusty, these might even be difficult to get off if you have that issue too. But if you end up breaking some of those, especially on the bottom of the old manifold, it doesn't matter. You have the replacement studs and nuts to go with it. You just don't have any replacements for the exhaust manifold itself or the exhaust portion if you remove any of those. But other than that, simple, straightforward install, and pretty inexpensive price for what they have it listed on their website right now. You can click the link in the description if you want to check it out, or if there's something you're interested in. And we're just going to start it up, see if there's potentially any leaks. Doesn't sound like it anywhere. I think we are good to go. So thanks for watching today, guys. Appreciate you guys tagging along. We will see you again soon.